Let us pray. Father, we just bless you, Lord. Thank you, Father God, that we can say that the joy of the Lord is our strength. Feeling a bit weak today? Feeling like the week has been a bit crazy? A couple of weird stuff happened to you? But you can hold on to this. The joy of the Lord is our strength. So I'm going to take a text from John chapter 2 from verse 1 to 10. And it's Jesus' first miracle where he turned water into wine. Now I'm going to tell you, if I had to start a bar, I want to do that. I'll just start with a whole lot of jugs of water, pray to the Lord, and poof, lots of wine. And it says, where we going with this? This is like crazy. I was just tuning in, just checking this. It says, on the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. You notice it doesn't say the mother of God. It's the mother of Jesus was there. Now both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding, and when they ran out of wine, the mother of Jesus said to him, they have no wine. That's quite deep, eh? Can you imagine? All the bottles are empty and you go, there's no wine. Okay. And Jesus said, woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. His mother said to the servants, whatever he says to you, do it. And that's my message this morning is, just do it. Now there were 6 pots of stone, according to the manner of purification of the Jews, containing 20 or 30 gallons. That's between 100 and 150 liters of water apiece. Jesus said to them, fill the pots with water, and they filled them to the brim, and he said to them, draw some out now, and take it to the master of the feast. And they took it. When the master of the feast had tasted the water, it was made wine. How cool is that? Eh? How many of you drink wine? Come and you can be honest, it's okay, it's not a sin. Yeah, a wine drinker, yes, a wine drinker. Yeah, all the wine drinkers are like, ooh. Good. The Bible says a little bit of wine is good for your stomach, so I'm not advocating go get drunk. There's no problem with wine. And did not know where it came from. And so he called the master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, every man at the beginning sets out good wine, and when the guests have drunk, well drunk, then the inferior. Isn't it just like people, eh? We'll give you the best, and when you're a bit tipsy, we'll give you the rubbish, and then you'll be okay. It's a little bit like our walk sometimes. We give God the best when we first meet him, and then we just give him the junk afterwards. You have kept the good wine until now. So to give you an idea, that was between 600 and 900 liters of wine. I think they had a bit of a party after that. They thought the wedding started, but it really started after he changed that. Now this is the line that really gets to me. It says, whatever he says to you, do it. How easy is it to just do it? The other day I was watching a guy do base jumping, and he went to this tall tower, and you could see his friend was busy videoing it, and he stood there and he was like, and he kept on hesitating, but eventually he got the courage to jump, but he forgot to open his parachute. No, seriously. And he went straight down, and he broke his back, and he broke his pelvis, and he broke his legs, and he broke his arms. And I think it's a little bit because he hesitated. If you're going to do something as silly as base jumping or bungee jumping, either do it or don't. I'm a don't do it. I don't even like jumping out of bed because it's that far. It's like, ooh, don't want to do that. And you see, when we start to hesitate and be double-minded about things, we become unstable. From the beginning, God gave man the opportunity to follow simple instructions. For example, the Garden of Eden. Now, can you imagine? You've got this amazing place with everything. One simple instruction. Listen to this. It's in 2 Genesis 16 to 17. And the Lord commanded. He didn't ask man. He commanded. So there's the clue. Saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in that day that you eat, you shall surely die. How weird is that? You have everything, and it's the one thing that you mustn't do that we end up doing. So that didn't work. So then he helped Moses and gave him the 10 Commandments as a guideline and a hedge of protection around his chosen people. So it started off with 10 simple do's and don'ts. Simple. Well, I don't know the exact number of laws now. How many laws are there? Anybody know? How many laws are there? 600. 600? How did that happen? I think it went like this. It was like, keep holy the Sabbath day. Well, now, is the Sabbath on a Saturday or on a Sunday? And then, does it count for the working hours or the non-working? And so we keep changing the rules to adapt ourselves. So from 10 commandments, we end up with over 600 rules. And Jesus says, actually, I'm going to tell you what it is. Matthew 22, 36 to 40 goes, Teacher, what is the greatest commandment, or the great commandment of the law? You see, this guy knew the 600 laws, and he was going to say, oh, I'm going to check what Jesus knows. And then Jesus summarizes it. Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. We started with a simple thing. Don't eat of the fruit. We go to 10 basic rules. We then go and make our own rules to over 600. And Jesus just says, actually, love God with everything. And then love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do you love God? Do you love your neighbor? How about yourself? You like yourself? When you get up in the morning and you look at the mirror and you go, oh no. See? And there's consequences for this to disobedience. Throughout the Bible, the moment God gave a commandment and people didn't obey, all kinds of things happened. He said to Joshua, whatever you do, don't take anything that belongs to your enemy. And the guy thought, come on man, a little sliver of gold, and a little bit of silver, and a little garment, and a little something, and besides what I'll do, I'll stick it under my tent and nobody will know. How cool is that? Eh? You know that thing, like when you're walking through an office, little pen over there, nobody will know. That's cool. Or you walk into a store as a kid. They got those special jackets that the guys go shopping with. I saw a video once of this woman that they caught. She took out a whole turkey and all the trimmings, like they were going to have Thanksgiving, compliments of the store. You see, it starts with a little thing. It was just a little thing that he hid under the tent. God says to the people, don't do it. Just obey me. How's this? So, they go into battle with a lot of people against a little people, and they get a hiding. You're not sure what a hiding is, they lost the war. Because God was not with them because of their disobedience. And Joshua cries out to God and says, how could you let this happen to your people? We like your special folks. And he goes, well, there's there's a thing happening here amongst you. Somebody's done something here. And Joshua asked the Lord, who done it? Who is guilty? And one guy comes up, the father, and the son comes up, and all the children comes up, and all the family comes up, and the whole family gets stoned. No, not that kind of stone. Come on. Not that. No, like stone. Not only do they get stoned, all their goods, all their animals, everything that they possess gets killed and burnt because of one act of disobedience. But how can we change this? How do we come from a place of disobedience where we hate the Christians, hate Christianity, hate God, hate everything, go through life understanding that He's just not really there? I spoke to somebody the other day and they said, there's something in my house and I can't sleep. I said, oh. She says, but I don't believe it's there, so it doesn't have an effect on me. I thought, oh, that's kind of funny. I said, but don't worry, we'll anoint your house. We went around, we started praying, and room by room, and then I left the front door open and it was like, and I sat with this person afterwards and she says, nah, God's not real. God's not real, the devil's not real, demons aren't real, and if I don't believe it, then it doesn't exist. So I said, well, just come with me quickly. And I said, what's that? He said, that's the sky. I said, no, it's not. I don't believe it. Therefore, it's not real. You see, God's called us to just do it. Now I'm going to take you to the book of Acts. Very nice chapter. Chapter 9, 1 to 6. Such a nice guy. So zealous for the Lord. He knew the Lord. He knew every bit about the Lord. Much that's what Björn was saying this morning. You can read the Bible and know the Bible and meditate on the Word, but never know who it's about until you start to have that relationship with Him. Until you start to see that you're a son and a daughter and that He is your Heavenly Father. Until you start to see that you are a co-heir. Whatever Jesus did on earth, we can do those things. Until you see that the Holy Spirit is not just some weird thing out there, but He's a person who takes care of us and He's pieces with us. And He empowers us and He equips us. And it says this, then Saul, breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked for letters from him to the synagogues of Damascus, so that if he found any who were of the way, whether men or women, he may bring them bound to Jerusalem. How cool is that? Did anybody stop you from coming into church this morning? Anybody? Nobody? Where you live, is it difficult to say, I'm a Christian? Anybody? When last have you been tied to a post and flogged because you love Jesus? When last has any of your family been beheaded because you've become a Christian? You see, this is the thing. Now, those who followed the way, because you see, Christianity was only, that name was only used later. It was known as the way. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Which way are we following? Which truth has become a reality to us? And what is our life all about? This is what it says here. That He might bring them bound. I mean, how amazing. Now that's a dedicated guy. Hello. Do you follow the way? No, I don't. Yes, you do. Take him away, bind him and thrash him. And you see, people had to hide. You hear a knock at the door and you think, I wonder if they, I used to live like that because I was a drug addict, so every time there was a knock at the door, like, hey, there's somebody at the door. What can I do? I don't know. We're on the 4th floor. It's not like I can run out the back door. I could maybe bungee jump from the balcony now. Are you following the way? Are you following the truth? And are you following the lie? And that's this. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly a light shone about him from heaven. Then he fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Any of you been knocked off your horse lately? Any of you come out of that life where you persecuted the Christians? That's me. I've been on that horse. And I used to love arguing with Christians and fighting with them. I grew up as a Catholic, but I didn't know Jesus as Lord and Savior. I thought I knew the Bible, but I never actually opened it. Years later, when I got saved, the pages were still stuck together. Any of you have a Bible like that? It's so new, the pages are like, you know, like, why are you persecuting me? And he said, who are you, Lord? Isn't this amazing? He was a Pharisee of Pharisees. He would at later stage go to great lengths to tell people about him being a Roman citizen, about him being a dedicated Jew, about him being a Pharisee. So if he was a Pharisee, he would have been set apart, separated from normal people, and he would have dedicated his life to reading the Bible, or the Torah at that time, the Old Testament and the prophets, the Pentateuch and the prophets. He would have known in detail about God. And yet as soon as he gets struck down, he looks up and he says, who are you, Lord? Do you know this Lord? Or do you only know of him? Have you read about him? Have you discussed him at length? Have you studied his life? But do you have a relationship with him? And then the Lord said to him, I'm Jesus, whom you are persecuting. It's hard for you to kick against the goads. So he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what do you want me to do? You see, he was doing, killing, persecuting, doing. And suddenly, when he asked the question, who are you, Lord? I am Jesus. Suddenly, his plans and his schemes came to naught, came to nothing. And he asked Jesus, what do you want me to do? Have you asked Jesus lately, what do you want me to do? And if he has told you, are you doing it? Are you like the fig tree? Yes, all nice, leafy, nice little trunk over there, no fruit. What is your fruit? You go a little bit further in chapter 9 to verse 15 and 16. But the Lord said to him, go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before the Gentiles, kings and children of Israel. For I will show him how many things he must suffer for my name's sake. So the very guy who went about killing and maiming and arresting and doing harassing and all of that stuff, suddenly he's right on the front preaching the gospel to the Gentiles. You see, Saul started off not knowing who Jesus really was. He discovered who Jesus was. Jesus then gave him an instruction. Go and preach the gospel to the Gentiles. And then he started doing it. And if you read in scripture, it says, I have run the race. I have finished the race. The race that we run is the call upon our lives. And the call is not about standing at the pulpit. The call is not about being an evangelist. The call is about nothing about it. The call is simply doing what God has commanded us to do. For each one of us, it's different. For each one of us, it looks different, sounds different. Well, what are you doing? Are you running the race? Are you running well? And are you going to finish well? There's a race that we have in South Africa called the Comrades Marathon. It's an amazing race. I don't know, 50, 30,000. I mean, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous numbers of people. And it's just before 6 a.m. you'll see the guys. They dress funny, all strutting around, and they're doing the exercise the day before. They're running up and down, all smiling and happy. And then they have a rooster. Boom! And that race starts. And you can see the inexperienced guys. And they're gone. And they're running and everybody's smiling and laughing. It's just under 100 kilometers long. Then you see them towards the end of the race. I've seen people run the entire race and collapse 1 meter before the finish line. And the guy comes with a gun and he turns his back to the finishing line and he puts his hand up and he pulls the trigger and the race is over, and the guy has run for hour upon hour upon hour, for kilometer after kilometer, and he doesn't finish the race. Are we running? Are we walking? Are we overconfident on how we're going to complete this thing? Or are we going to finish the race? Are we going to finish strong? So that when one day we stand before Jesus, he says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." You see, it's not how we start the race. It's not how we run the race. It's how we finish the race. You see, the race of my life didn't start off very well. And I remember along the way till now, many people have said, you're either going to be in jail for the rest of your life, or you're going to die of drugs, but you will never ever be anything. You will never amount to anything. How wrong they were. You see, because when Jesus spoke to me and asked me, "Russell, why are you persecuting me?" I had to ask him, "Who are you, Lord? What do you want me to do?" Paul had a purpose, he had a call, and that was to preach to the Gentiles. He never wavered from there, and wrote over 2/3 of the New Testament. That's pretty good for somebody who didn't like the way. Right? The way. And I'm not sure if you like me, but there are many times that I do many things that I feel are worthy of God's praise. Come on, Lord, I'm your boy. Did I not preach in the streets? Did I not baptize? Did I not lead people to the... Didn't I? You see, the center of my whole conversation is me, myself, and I. Instead of me saying, "Who are you, Lord? What do you want me to do?" You see, I've reduced it to such a simple thing, like it's really, before I get dressed in the morning, what would you like me to wear? This was an outfit you picked. Good pick. No, I'm serious. I'll drive up to an intersection and I stop there for a moment. People think I've lost my mind because I'll ask him, "Which way do you want me to go?" Now, I really want to go this way. And he'll say, "Go that way." And I think, why? It's going to be the long way round. But there's an appointment. There's a divine meeting. There's an intervention that God has set up for somebody's life, and He's chosen me for that moment to be His voice, to be His hands, to be His feet, so that they may come to know the way, the truth, and the life. How many of us are stuck on the decision right now today where we're saying, "Lord, I don't know which way to go. This will benefit me better than this way." You see, we can have an eventful week where all kinds of things happen, and we want to do what is good for us, and we fail to do what is good for God and for His beloved bride. It's God first and His bride. Amen? You can say amen. That means you agree. Amen? Amen. Don't be scared. Don't waver. Say amen. 1 Samuel 15:22-23 says this. So Samuel said, The Lord a great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of the Lord. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness and is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king. You see, God gave very clear instructions to everyone. He said to Saul, very simple, I want you to go see the Amalekites, and I want you to utterly destroy. Now, utterly, in the English language, is quite a definite meaning. Utter means totally, without reproach, without worry, so there must be nothing left. And the people go, but Saul, look at these nice cows. And the sheep are amazing, and all the gold and the silver. And besides, you can't really go kill the king. That's like harsh. Now, we'll kill everybody else, but not the king. We'll save him. God gives him an instruction. God gives him a purpose. God gave him a kingdom. And he decided on me, myself, and I. And Samuel gets woken up by God. And he says to him, I don't like what's been going on. You need to get hold of him, hold of Saul, and it's the end of the story. And he wrestles with God, but you know, you chose him as king. I'm done. God says, I'm done. And Saul's waiting and he's thinking, all dressed and nowhere to go. I wonder what I can do. I tell you what, let's do a sacrifice. We'll do a barbecue in the name of the Lord. Yeah. And Samuel's coming along. And he goes, sees a little bit of fire going over there, a little bit of smoke. Saul's like, ooh. And the people are impressed by Saul because he's doing the sacrifice. He's the king. He can do as he pleases. Not so. And he says, hey, what's that bleating in my ears? What's that noise? Oh no, those are just some sheep we didn't kill. Besides, I kept the best for God. See, we start to do things that we ought not to do, and then we try and persuade God that it's okay. Lord, it's okay to sleep around. Really, you know my heart. I don't really want to do it, but I'm stuck. You know, Lord, I do this and I do that and I do and I do and but you must understand. In Romans 7:15 it says this, for I do not understand my own actions. I am baffled and bewildered by them. I do not practice what I want to do, but I am doing the very thing I hate, yielding to my human nature, my worldliness, my sinful capacity. That has been one of the favorite things that I've ever heard people say. I'll say, you know, sometimes some of the things that we do, we shouldn't. I'm just human. God understands. He knows that I have needs. Ever heard somebody say that? Hey. Yeah, me. You see, when I'm angry with somebody because they've done something wrong, yeah, but Lord, you know what? I'm your son, and how dare they speak to me like that? How dare they? And we justify the things we do, the things we say, and the things we think. And then we separate them. Because what we'll do is, you see, I'm very spiritual. And so my body, who was very naughty, is over there. And you naughty body, you sin. But my spirit is pure. Now we are spirit beings that live in a body, that have a soul with emotions and understanding. So I want to ask us this question. What is stopping us from being obedient? What is causing us to be like Paul and say, the things that I mustn't do, I shouldn't do, I find I'm doing. But the things that I don't want to do, that I should do, I can't do. What is is causing us to walk in sin? What is causing us to run around the mountain day in and day out? Because that's what we do. You see, we sin, we get into trouble, we run to God, we go on our knees, we repent, we say we're sorry, and then we go, and then we go, and we go, and we go. Do we know who He is? Can we truly say, I know who you are? You see, we sang some amazing songs about the person of God, about His reckless love, Him leaving 99 for the one. Are we running with the crowd with the 99? Or are we stopping and say, Lord, show me who the one is? The one. A few months ago we were doing a hospital ministry, and Jean was busy speaking to a guy from Germany. And afterwards I said to Jean, do you mind if I have a word with him? And when I looked for this guy, he was gone. But when I went outside the hospital, he was sitting on the bench. I asked John again. He said, no, go. But he told me his name. That was funny though. He told me his name, so I walked up to him. And I said, hello. You know my name? And I said, yeah, but John told me. So it wasn't like super spiritual. But he must have thought, oh my gosh, he's come after me. And I sat down with him. And I asked him a question. I said, how are you doing? He says, I'm here because I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia. I said, no, that's okay. I'm going to pray for you. He goes, no, but you don't understand. I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic with schizophrenia. And I said, I'm going to tell you again, I don't really care who you are or who you think or what people have told you, but I'm going to pray for you today. And that man gave his heart to the Lord. I was with a Russian guy. Where's Alex? He said, yeah, he's gone now. Alex was with me, Nina's husband. And when I started praying for him, his face started to change. He was going like, Alex looked at that and he ran. He said, I'm out of here. Anyhow, God set that man free. Just the other day, I got a message from Germany, from his wife that he had been getting divorced from. They reconciled. He's healed from schizophrenia. He doesn't take drugs. And he's not an alcoholic. You see, Jesus went for the one. Was it convenient? Not really. Is it ever convenient? No, it's not. When we say to the Lord, who are you? What do you want me to do? He sets up everything for you so that you can be successful. Okay, we know that we're called. We know that who God is. But what excuses are we using not to be obedient? And I made a little list, not a big list. Sometimes we use the thing love. Well, you know, Lord, I love my family and I love the people around me, so it's very important that I put them first in my life. You see, my wife needs to be first, my children needs to be first, and then when I get tired, or we use hate. Nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm a worm, and so I'm not going to do anything. See? Or, well, you know, I'm successful. I've got a great business. I've got loads of cars, boats, I've got everything. Why would I need God? I've got everything already. And the counter to that is, I don't have a home. I'm homeless. Nobody loves me. My wife left me. I've got no money. I'm living in the streets. I've got nothing to eat. How can there be a God that allows these things to happen to me? Or maybe we're super popular. It's amazing when I listen to the guys when they're doing like the Oscars and that, and they get up, and you can see, oh my God, I had no idea I was going to win. Meantime, you check, they've got a long speech. Well, if you didn't know you were going to win, why is your speech so long? You see, because you wouldn't need a speech because you're a loser. Oh, first thing I want to do is I want to say thank you to my mentor, my acting coach, my wife, my this, my that. And then every now and then you get a brave man or woman stand up and say, the first thing I want to do is thank myself. And you know what happens to them? You don't hear from them again. Off the list. We can't have you talking about God. Are you crazy? People will stop watching your movies. In fact, we're not going to hire you anymore. What about loneliness? How many of us know what it is to be lonely? Sit in your room by yourself. You stand in a crowd with people and you're together, but you have this intense sense of loneliness, of not belonging, of not being part of being on the outside looking in. It's almost like watching people having lunch in a restaurant through the window. And you see the joy on their face and you see their happiness and you on the outside. That could be one of our excuses. Or maybe you're an incredibly handsome or beautiful person. People just fall at your feet. Everybody wants to be your friend. Or maybe you weren't endowed with the best features. You may have scars, you may have funny hair, you may, and you hide behind that. Well, you know, Lord, I can't really do what you've called me to do, because what will people think about me? What if you're like a super clever person? You've studied everything, you've got your PhD, you are the bomb. Oh, don't tell me about God. You know, Darwin said this, and Socrates said this, and you start listing off all these people that have given you this incredible knowledge that you don't need some fairy tale story about a God that you can't see. Or maybe you're just ignorant, and you say, well, I didn't know. I didn't know I'm not allowed to do that. You're crazy. Who's this God anyway? Do you know Jesus? And I can tell you, you can walk around somewhere, you can walk around Thailand, you ask them, have you ever heard about Jesus? They'll say no. Who is he? Is he a Farang? Is he just coming over to work here, or does he live here? What about being independent? There are many of us. Let me help you. No. I'll handle it. I'm not a baby, I'm not a child, I can do what I want to do. Or maybe you're codependent. Everywhere you go, you've got to be with so-and-so and do it because they are your source for everything. Maybe you're like one of these super focused people. Did you ever see that movie, The Yes Man? Yes I can, yes I can, yes I can. Hey, Russ, I don't think you should ride over the mountain with your little scooter. Ha! Don't tell me what I can do. Of course I can ride over the mountain with Or maybe you're not focused. Maybe you're double-minded. Maybe you're all over the place. You can't make a firm decision. Should I, shouldn't I? Yes, I will go on one. I'll serve God now one. Then I'll do this and you know, Lord, there's just so many decisions to make. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make a decision at all. We are called to go, not to grow weary, not to become lukewarm, not to be half-hearted, not to be disgruntled, discontented, disillusioned, so that we finally backslide. We are called to go and be a blessing. We are called to be the light, and we are called to be the salt of the earth. Matthew 22 verse 14 says this, for many are called, but few are chosen. You're all called. Every one of you are called. You know that. By virtue of being born again. By virtue of accepting Christ. By virtue of being led by the Holy Spirit. By virtue of being sons and daughters of the Most High God. Or at the end of our race, will we hear those terrible words, I do not know you. And I want to end on the final slide. see, we all know that slogan. Just do it. It's time to just do it. Stop mucking about. Stop being double-minded. Stop floating around through life as there's many tomorrows, because we don't know that hour when Jesus will come as a thief in the night, and we will be like those ladies with the lamp, and we will not have oil, and he will leave and say, I don't know you, in Jesus' name.